am your host, Professor Tuck. Are you guys ready for World War III? Are you prepared? What do you prepare for? This is going to be an open community discussion. I think that putting content out throughout the day and then just focusing on one topic at the end of the night will be a good thing. So if you guys have any topics that you'd like to suggest, especially if you're watching this post replay, please go ahead, put that down in the description or put it in chat. Hi and welcome everybody. I'm glad to see you this evening. Nice to see you, Occult. All right, are we coming in loud and clear? We'll give it a couple of minutes for people to come in and to kind of get going. And hey, if you want one of these cups, it's down in the description. It's called Feelings Aren't Facts. Because a lot of people, they get butthurt. We got some snowflakes around the country, and so you can just sit there and sip your cup. It even has a nice little water bottle in case you want to go out in public and just remind people of things like that. What's up, Bucknut? Nice to see you, buddy. What's up, Tricky Dick? Nice to see you. Sure, Beth is in here. Hi, Beth. Nice to see you. Okay, so we've got the regular crowd in here. All right. As you guys see, let me get my brain back on track. As you guys see, what's been happening over the news the last couple of days, I have been calling it and doing articles on it in advance. What's up, Matthew? Nice to see you. I have been doing all kinds of videos ahead of time to kind of lay the groundwork of where we're going. Now, you guys know that I get my predictions and stuff like that from Billy Meyer, and I kind of read what he says. So I'm not taking credit for any of this. I don't want to take credit for it, but I am taking the opportunity to sit back and have a chat with you about some of the stuff that is being talked about because we're getting to see it unfold in the news. So as you noticed, there was a fight between Scott Bessett and Elon Musk in the in the White House. I think it was either today or yesterday. There's already a rift, and Elon Musk has already given a notice that he will be exiting Doge, giving less time to it because he now needs to go and focus on Tesla. Okay, so I talked about this, how there's going to be a rift. Now, Donald Trump is being nice right now, but give it a month or two and watch and see if any sanctions or any militant action gets taken against Elon Musk, maybe for considering his betrayal or whatever it may be. Donald Trump it's not going to be very pleasant for Elon Musk. Now, the next thing is I've also talked about how this is the failure of Donald Trump's presidency. This trade war was a gamble that he thought we would win, and he's starting to back off. So he keeps saying that we're in talks with China. China keeps saying, no, we're not in talks with the United States. They have to tone down their rhetoric, and they have to start like alleviating some of all that other stuff. He only gets like 110 days. This was planned on him going back. He wants to save days for the future. Maybe, Bucknut, maybe. If that be the case. But there was also another thing that people that you're not really going to hear, especially from the right, is that part of the issue that Scott Bessett and Elon Musk were having has to do with the IRS. Elon Musk suggested a guy. Donald Trump put him in without Bessett's blessing. Bessett comes in there, chews Trump out, and gets his guy put back in. And so therefore, now Elon Musk is upset. I don't know why. I don't know if there's any other things that are going on about that. I heard the plan was for him to stay until midterm. He was. The thing is, it was kind of like an if and or. I don't know the exact things because it was loose. He's an unelected bureaucrat that's coming in there and changing the government. The Democrats are crying about it, but wait a minute. Didn't they do that for how many years? Now they're calling it's like the pot calling the kettle black. It's like it doesn't make any sense. But that's politics for you. It's okay if we do it, but it's not okay if you do it. And that is the way that our political system works. But I've been looking at, because if you remember me talking about, China has a 5-point plan on how to deal with the United States in the trade war. They've already started to do it. His time is limited to as a NGO. There is a legal limit for a temp appointment. Okay, um, but I don't know. I don't know the full on details. Like I said, okay. Here's a question for all of you listening, and even for those of you that are watching this post replay. Um, do you? There is so much news out there. It doesn't matter where you get it because preppers and alt news guys are going to get their news from all kinds of different sources. But there's so much information out there that we in a lot of ways could even be being misled, not by intent, but just because there's so much misinformation out there, you can't really decide, and you're kind of like, well, that sounds about right, well, that doesn't sound about right, type of thing, because you're just trying to use logic and reason with what you know and from your point of view. So I'm just wondering, do you tell me if you trust the news or if you don't trust the news. We're including written articles. We're including alternative media, and we're also including like prepper news and stuff like that. Do you guys trust it? Because I'm having a hard time struggling trying to figure out what it is I can trust and what it is that I can't. Because it seems like any publication that's out there is state run, especially if it's a major publication that's going to get like top stories and stuff like that. It seems like they're state run, whether it be Chinese, Indian, United States, it's all state run, putting out the state message. So I'm wondering, do you guys think like it becomes very hard to be able to figure out what's real and what's not. I don't trust it. That's why I listen to both sides of the and formulate my own opinion. I'm doing that, but um, it's if you're okay, so if I'm going to spin something but yet I'm already getting the wrong information to begin with, and then I go in there and spin it the way I want, yeah, that's my point of view on the left or on the right, and both sides are doing that. But is that source information that they're getting, is there, how much truth is in it anymore? Because this is the state narrative and what they're trying to push out. Fortunately, I have time to consume a lot of especially at 2x. Yeah, so no, okay. No, yeah, it's been quite some time now. Yeah, okay. Beth, thumbs up, yo. What's up? Okay, Matthew. All right, so I've gotten to everybody. Glad to see all of y'all here. Uh, so it's just this is we're going down this road, and so I started looking into, because I wanted to understand what's going on in the South China Sea, because one of the 5 points that the Chinese put out in order to be able to battle Donald Trump in his tariff war, or any combatant really, was they wanted to assert authority and military dominance over the South China Sea. And there's a lot of contention and a lot of stuff going on now, right at this point. Because of how diplomatic relations have broken down, and the fact that China feels confident in going to war with the United States, China is probably going to be one that's going to instigate something to probably lead us down that path where we have to. I was watching, and if you guys are over on Patreon, there is an open AI employee, a former employee, who kind of gives the overall breakdown of how artificial intelligence is going to morph over the next couple of years, and how artificial intelligence is going to lead to a world war. Because what's happening is that we have espionage happening at the highest levels, especially within like OpenAI. You have Chinese espionage agents. You have those that are sympathetic to foreign governments and things like that. And even though within OpenAI they are they're trying to keep it close knit, and they're not going to be sharing a lot more of their information like they have, because they think the Chinese are stealing their information and then making them look bad, because they're making it look like they did it at a lower cost when they didn't. So the overall thought is that with these embedded moles within these firms that are doing artificial intelligence, they're sending all this information back to China so that they can sit there and work on it and keep up with it. And that's why they are in so many ways publicly looking like they're kicking our ass. But in reality, they're stealing information. And right now, they're saying that this new code that they've got coming out, they're keeping it under lock and key, but they also suspect that China might, with their inside moles, in a way to where it may not be detectable, can steal about 4% a month of the overall data without getting noticed, and so therefore siphon the whole code. So as soon as OpenAI does a release, you've already got China that's doing a release because it's all state funded. And eventually, what's going to happen is that could be used as something to ignite international tensions. What's up, Tommy? Okay. Evening, Professor and Takamaniacs. What's going on? Okay. Chickmunks. Okay. But uh anyways, this is kind of like how things are. There are people that are already talking about how this is going to escalate, and this should escalate by 2027. Now, unless Trump backs down. But here's the thing: Trump is facing a lot of losses. He just got his butt kicked in the Supreme Court. He is getting his butt kicked in the trade war. The thing is, he keeps saying that we're in negotiations, but how many trade deals have been signed? CNN says 0. I don't know if that's true. I want to fact check that. I just didn't have time to do that before we got here. But it can't. How many? Can somebody fact check this for me? Can somebody give me the answer? How many trade deals has Donald Trump signed during this trade war? Because he says he has what, like 90 agreements going now, right now, and so he's got to have at least signed one. If he hasn't this far in, that's a pretty big deal, because right now, Donald Trump, part of the reason why he's starting to temper back is because with us putting this tariff war not just on our friends but on our enemies, and giving it worse to our enemies than we're giving it to our friends. We're creating a food shortage and a supply shortage in this country that will probably be worse than anything we saw in COVID. Okay. And that's going to be something that is going to be something that you might want to watch out for, because there's Donald Trump apparently was told that he's got 2 weeks and then store shelves are going to be empty. And with the news saying that, and now that it's getting out, you'll probably have it in less than a week, because everybody's going to start panic buying and start going through this mass hysteria. And what happens when we can't get our food? Okay. I'm lucky. I've got food store. I don't, just because I say I'm low on food is different for me than it is for you. Because I grew up in a home where my mom said, no matter how poor we are, we will always have plenty of food. And so I'm one of those people. I tend to stash food that even when I'm out, I'm not really out. It's just the stuff I don't want to eat. That's kind of what it really is. I've probably like, I could go about, I could probably make it about 6 weeks with what I have on hand right now. If I ration myself out, I could probably go somewhere around 6 weeks. And all I'd have to do is go in and buy me a couple loaves of bread, some lunch meat, and a box of cereal, and then I would be good for the rest, for at least a little while. But I have that ability, to because that's just the way I was raised, is to kind of stash everything. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I get that yummiest stuff goes first, of course. Is that Costco in? Is there a Costco in Xolo? I'm not sure. You would have to look it up, but I don't think so. You got Walmart, you got Target, you've got Tractor Supply, and there's the other one. There's the other hardware store, not Ace, but the other one. Anyways, I go through those guys, but anyways, you've got all of these. You've got all of this stuff happening, and so not only could this turn, you know uh, forget about the courts are kicking Donald Trump's butt to a point where he's going to try something else, and you can sit there, you can see it on his face that he's looking defeated, because he was very upbeat, to where now he's like, oh yeah, because he just got his butt whooped in a big fight and he thought he was going to win. He picked a fight he thought he was going to win, and he didn't, because the whole world was already hip. If we would have left him in for one more term, I don't think we would have had any of this, because the world was already on its heels, and we could have kept him on their heels and done what he wanted. I think that Trump feels that he is that he's got a limited amount of time, because he's got 4 years to completely make historical change in this country, completely do a 180 on what we used to do. And he's doing it the best way he knows how, because he's going back and looking at historical policies, not understanding that, when we've done these things, they generally lead to war. And, he thought, oh, well, America's big and powerful and a badass. We weren't back then, we are now. Well, no, because we've had enough presidents that have gotten us into endless wars that we lose face as we withdraw. Look at Afghanistan, look at Iraq, look at Bosnia, look at Kosovo. When's the last time America really had a win other than maybe Desert Shield? Okay, and that was great, but that wasn't even a near peer. And most of them were giving up before our soldiers even showed up, because we had so much air power. And that is really the difference between the Eastern Doctrine and the Western Doctrine. Is Western is all about at an arm's length. It's about it's about grinding you down so that by the time you make it to our actual infantry, they can just finish it off. And so it's a slow churn if you want to advance on America, if you're in using the Western doctrine appropriately, versus the Eastern doctrine. They do it, but they're doing it with ranged weapons, or they have some superiority, but nothing as good as what we have. Mm. But it is what it is. Okay, but we've got we've got the stuff that's happening in the South China Sea. China is creating a new form of diplomatic warfare, we'll say, which is their whole island hopping. Now, we've all been hearing about it for years, since the Trump tariffs and all that stuff. A lot of stuff has started ramping up there. Um, the Chinese are supporting the dissidents that are disrupting our shipping supplies. Therefore, it hurts us even more economically. And here's the thing: China could say, "Well, we don't want to deal with you until you have a new president." And so once Donald Trump leaves office, then they'll come. But by then, how much damage has been done to America? How much damage has been done to everything? If we go to war over AI, if we go to war over the tariffs and how it ends up affecting us, because if China if China really tries to run Donald Trump through the mud and publicly humiliate him, Donald Trump will say, "Screw it, not going to do it. I'm not going to. I'm not going to save face like that." And at that point in time, his pride and his ego, I think, will probably be. If we go at it from an American side, I think that will probably be what ends up happening. Is that his ego will force him into this, because we're already escalating. We're already doing war games there. um, the main thing is because Vietnam and the Philippines have been very helpful to us, and we've got very good relationships with them. They essentially, the dumb shit that China is doing is driving them closer to us. But if Trump loses this trade war and is not able to subdue China, then that means that the whole South China Sea, which is what, about a third of the world's supply that comes out of there. If that gets taken over and the Americans no longer have control, America is no longer the superpower and China is. Because really what it boils down to is maritime power, because it's about trade. We've As we become globalized, maritime power becomes more important. So the British were the first ones to really, well, no, it was actually, I think it was the Portuguese were the first ones to set up a true maritime power, unless you want to call the Vikings a maritime power. But if you look at the most powerful civilizations in history, they've always had a strong navy, because the fastest way to ship goods is over the sea, not over land. And so therefore, it is what it is. But they're trying to by so Britain, when it had its power, it controlled the seas. The United States, as we had the power, we control the seas, because got the largest military. That's why we have all this other stuff. It's a lot of different uh, uh, a lot of different things play into the power, but the power comes in the protection of trade, because you're going to protect your trade routes. And so anybody that wants to come on your trade routes, because I mean, look at what the Knights Templar did for pilgrims that were going down to the Holy Land. They would hold on to it because they would make sure, and they had their own cipher system, and they would, in that way you could get money along the way without carrying it and getting caught by bandits. And so therefore you had to submit to their system to be able to be guaranteed safety on your travels. Okay. And so it works the same way with trade and everything, is that people will pay for safety and they will submit for safety, because it means that they have an opportunity for more money and more possible opportunities. And so as America is losing control of these shipping lanes in the South China Sea because of the 9 dotted line, because of the islands, and then the new islands that they've been putting in since 2020, that they said that they wouldn't. The World Court is even came and said, look, you can't do that. But the thing is, China's like, well, we'll do whatever we want. But they're continuing Chinese policy, because even Mao and all since the Communist Party, they've said historically the area that they're calling the 9 dotted line has always been Chinese, and they wanted to reestablish their dominance in that area because that has always been there. And it's kind of weird how they're fighting it, and they're doing it without actually using any military, because they're able to mobilize their citizens, or at least pay their citizens to be disruptors. And from what I heard is that also China showed up with its navy, sat there, and one of the Philippine atolls that they turned into like one of their own little personal islands for defense, they basically flooded that in, and so and so therefore they were able to assert their powers, like, yeah, you can build it, but you're not us, so we're gonna sink your island. And so they sunk their island. And this is a lot of contention. And if that keeps erupting, and as we get decoupled, and as China gets emboldened, because it realizes that it's not the weaker power here, that they may suffer consequences. It may hurt them in the short term, but in the long term, China will reassert its dominance that it had, 500, 600 years ago, when it was a superpower last time. So they're just trying to regain their superpower. And as we fall, our politicians will want to regain our status as superpower again as well. Maybe we'll be a lot more mature back then, but probably in that time, but probably not. Because if you look at what the Chinese are doing what we do, but they're doing it worse. They make us look like Boy Scouts, and we're not really that clean either. So this is all coming for a world war. So what are you guys doing to prepare for this? I would like to know down in the comments. I'd like to know from you guys here. Mr. History Buff, the Spanish Armada. Okay. What's up, Greece? It was the Spanish Armada. Okay. Well, before I thought it was Portugal that had its own power before Spain even really rose to power. I don't know. I don't know a lot about European history. Most of my history is American. That's what I know. What's up, Kung Fu? Becoming a rebel. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So, I mean, there's really not much you can do. This is one of those points where you've studied all year long. You've turned in your homework. You've done your preparation. So it's now time to take that test. See how well you do. Some of us are not going to do very well. A majority of us will not do very well, but some of us will thrive and succeed and overcome this. And then you are going to be the next generation of teachers that are going to teach people how to actually survive the major crisis, because we're on the verge of a Great Depression, a food shortage, civil war, martial law, and a World War III. This could all happen before the end of Trump's presidency. All of this. That's how volatile the situation has been. And I mean, it wasn't much better under Biden, but shit, it's getting worse. But like you were saying, so difficult to sort it out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, everybody's been preparing. And if you've been trying to prepare, like I've been one of those people, I've been trying to prepare, but every time an opportunity would come, something else would come up that, because when you're, I've had money, but I've always been poor. I don't understand it because I'm bad with money. That's why. That explains it. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it took this time of being homeless to actually make me really good with money to where I'm not as destructive to myself financially as I used to be. So over 4 years, ammo is cheap currently. Yep. And you better know how to make your own ammo too. And you better be able to know how to be able to take those shell casings and repurpose them so that you can make more ammo. No, I don't know how to do that, but I dated a girl whose baby daddy, his dad, that's what he did is he taught people at the range, and then he also repurposed the bullets. So, yeah, well, they're gonna, a gun will be like gold in probably about 4 years. Watch, a gun will be like gold. Um, I highly expect it. Okay. Um, nice to see you active today, Bucknut. Because usually you're either driving home, you're getting dinner, or something else. Did you kind of have Did you get to have an early day today, or did they give you some time to rest? So hold on a second. So in order to save money, even though I don't like it, I did it anyways. Because it's cheaper for a month. I can pay $15 for a whole month's worth of tobacco. Now I don't like it because it's pipe tobacco. Pipe tobacco sucks. But um but hold on. It is what it is. It's cheap. This right here cost me about $9.87. That right there will last me a month, even if I chain smoke and I smoke and I smoke and I smoke, because I have the problem where I smoke and I smoke, because otherwise I'd be paying $37 for half of that. I only worked 11 hours today, short day. Damn, only 11 hours. Shit. I found out something on YouTube today that they're not necessarily going to censor for cussing. But if you don't want to get throttled back, one of the things that you want to do is refrain from cussing in the first 6 seconds. So, fuck. All right. So I had to do it because I've been thinking about that all day. I'm like, I'm going to wait till second number 7 and I'm just going to drop an F-bomb. So for those of you that find it hilarious, I hope you enjoyed it. It's my rebel mentality. But anyways, do you guys with every slacker? Yeah, really, slacker. Okay, so I'm curious. I've got a special guest coming. Okay, James Madison Diversion Plan. What's up, James? I've got a special guest that I wanna have on next week. But because of who the guest is, i.e., my old man, I will not put it here on YouTube. The last time him and I did a video together and I put it on YouTube, I lost 4 channels. I'm not going to do that again. But my old man and I, for years, that's been the thing that, like, regardless of our differences, that's like the one thing that him and I are able to do, and we do really well, because not only we shit talk back and forth, but he's like a super Trumpian, and I'm more like a Thomas Paine type of guy. And so we're going to clash. It'd be kind of like Hannity and Combs, but I'm kind of more the Combs in the situation. Uh, uh, my old man thinks I'm too liberal. Messages and questions to text. Yes, please. But anyways, I'm going to have to put that behind a paywall to do something like that. So guys, yeah, that's, I want to do that, but I think that I think that I want, there's going to be something more coming of it. I just want to set the groundwork for it first. Okay. But what do you guys think about something like that? Yes, I love Thomas Paine. I'll be on Dad's side. It's awful. You're going to bully me. Oh no. Oh no. You think I'm bad? Dude, my ex-wife, most of her entertainment was listening to me and my dad have shit talking contests back and forth. Yeah. You'll hear it. And don't be surprised if you hear McFly, but please keep that private, you know. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Since I was a kid, that's he's always called me that. So yeah. Hello, McFly. Mm. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna have him on next week. We're gonna have it behind a paywall. So if you are a paid member, you better get on over there and make sure you're there because again, but I told him this time we weren't allowed to talk about the C family. Because I don't even though it may be unlisted using YouTube as a backbone, YouTube could possibly still penalize me for it. I'll jump in on the side that's losing. Um, uh, Hi Marty, see Biff recently. Yeah, of course, Bucknut. Of course, you've always got to be the devil's advocate. Mm. But anyways, I want to start getting a normal rotation of guests. Okay. I also want to start getting a normal rotation of topics. There's things that you would like to be more deep dove into. You may be watching other channels, they're just covering stuff on the surface level. You'd like to know more about it. That's where this comes in. Let me know what is it what is it that you would like to what topics what is at the top of your mind? What is worrying you the most about the news, and what would you like to know more about? Is it artificial intelligence? Is it the trade war? Is it politics and Trump? Is it the dystopian society that's coming from artificial intelligence? What topics interest you? I might even put that out as a poll, so that I can kind of gauge like what it is that's gonna bring people in, what it is that you guys like most. But I'd like to know from you guys here tonight, what do you guys like? Are you into the political side? Are you into like what is it? Please Tuck, AI is my religion. Oh, okay. So you're already a member of Way of the Future, I see. Um, mm. Well, you know what, AI, you better worship AI because if you don't, you think it's gonna be bad now. Um, you think it's gonna be bad now. Wait until honestly, if I were to call anything in the mark of the beast, if they're able to institute that dystopian society with artificial intelligence, that would be the mark of the beast on my current events and self-reliance. Okay, current events and self-reliance. That's good to know. What about the rest of y'all? So did he knock on your head too? Sometimes Kung Fu. Are you an Xer tuck or a millennial? Oh, I'm an Xer. I'm the end of Generation X. And it really pisses me off because when I was a kid, I was like, am I Generation X or am I a millennial? They're like, yeah, you're not a millennial, you're Gen X. And growing up, and so I was shamed for being Gen X because millennials were supposed to be the greatest thing. Now all of a sudden, the millennials want to go, if you were born 1976 or later, then you're a millennial. No, the fuck you're not. Quit changing the facts. That's what I hate. That's what I hate about the left and the Me Too movement and the woke movement is they change the facts to fit their narrative so that they can say, "See, look, we're telling the truth. These are the facts. Those are your facts." Oh yeah, well, facts are subjective. Yeah, because that's the only way you can justify it. You know, that's what really irritates me. Because here's the thing: if you guys really want to know the history of generations and understand how generations really work, because it's actually kind of important to understand. So traditionally, when you have a generation in a family, it's the birth of the father to the birth of the grandson, okay, which is usually about 36 years. Sometimes could be 40, but about 36 years. Okay. Now they have social generations, which are 20 years. So from January 1, 1944 to December 31, 1963, that is those are the boomers. And then from January 1, 1964 to December 31, 1983, those are Xers. And so therefore now they're trying to change the narrative and change it all out. But a true generation, if we're only talking about social generations, we're not talking about real generations, because from the birth of my old man in 1960 to the birth of my son in 2009, that is one generation. So traumatized. He escaped Epstein Island at 12, only to be sent to Diddy's mansion. I am Beth. I am Beth. Are you a woman of science, God? Um, Tuck is 26. He's had a hard life. Okay. Okay. Yes, I remember you said you were a member of the religion. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm not sure if Greece is. Sometimes you can't tell whether somebody's joking around or being a smartass. But Greece kind of seems a little snarky, so I would say he's being a smartass. Mm. You are, yes, yeah. Oh, me witty, no, him's witty. But yeah. Anyways, so it sounds like you guys want to keep up on current events. So what out of, because there's a lot of current events, because we've got a trade war, we've got what's going on with the Justice Department, we've got we're not even, nobody's even talking about the release of the JFK files, nobody's talking about the release of the Epstein documents, nobody's talking about that because there's so much stuff going on. Again, it's like, what part of the current events interests you more? Is it the political side? Is it the economic side? With the trade war, is it the technology side? Is it like, because I mean, I'm only coming with one main topic. What's up, Davilia Ganja? Okay. I'm only looking for I'm only gonna like my during the day, I'm gonna be doing current events and covering some of those different topics. But at night when I do my live stream, I want to kind of like focus on one area, one topic. That way I can spend my whole day researching one topic, so I have a way deeper knowledge of it, because everything's changing so fast. I'm constantly having to learn all this new stuff that I didn't know about these topics. Stuff, I mean, some stuff I know, but some stuff I don't know. Tuck, you talked about a poll. Make it easy for us and do that. Okay, I'll do that, Occult. All right. But that's the events of the day. We've got a huge shitstorm coming. If you guys are prepared, you got right now. They say anywhere between next week is when it's going to start hitting me here on the West Coast, because it starts hitting LA next week, and it'll hit New York by the middle of the month. Okay, that's how soon this food shortage goes if we can't fix it. I'm drunk, so ignore me if the idea is full retarded. I try to never go full retard. Anyways, could you get empty sandbags and fill them with sand from high spots on your okay. Food shortage. Okay, yeah. That food shortage is a big deal. It's a big deal. As far as yeah, just that's what I'm worried about, because what is it that we're not going to be getting now? Right now, China. What we got to worry about is the raw products. Is really where the food shortage is going to be noticed. We do have food manufacturing local here, like we've got bread and all kinds of other stuff that can't make it overseas, perishables and stuff like that. Oh, you know what? I have a great idea. And I'm kind of curious. I'd like to start a restaurant doing this. Okay. We'll call it Potluck Diner. Okay. And okay, so what you do is, like, in a rural area like this, instead of like charging all this price and having all your food shipped in, tap into the local market, kind of like what Chipotle did. And what you want to do is, like, uh, uh, somebody brings in a dozen eggs, they get a like a 3-egg omelet for it. You keep the rest to be able to do it. People bring in vegetables, you give them, like, okay, do you want a salad? Do you want this? Do you want that? But they bring in enough to where they can actually have more for the ingredients, and everybody can bring it in, and therefore they have the ability to sell it during the day to sell food. But it also, they're paying people in a quality cooked meal by a chef, like at a restaurant, by bringing in the necessary ingredients. And so in a way it becomes like, it becomes more like like a local potluck where everybody in the community is bringing in vegetables, bringing in eggs, bringing in beef, bringing in bacon and pork, and bringing in all the different things that we need. Because then what that does is that incentivizes the local farmers and the local off-grid people to be able to, oh, well, I might want to grow a plot of wheat just so I can cut it down, break it down, maybe make some flour, take it in there. I'll trade flour and I'll get, let's say, like 7 meals out of it, because it's a 10-pound, 20-pound bag of flour. Okay, something along those lines, I think would be, if you're looking at, if you're in a rural area, if you're an off-grid rebel, this I think will be a way. Not only is it humane, but if you can get the community to come together with all of those resources, in the event that there's a total economic collapse, what you actually allow the community to do is to sustain itself, because it has all the food. They're just bringing it to a central place so that everybody can eat. And they got basically the local diner turns into a soup kitchen, and everybody's bringing their stuff that they're harvesting so that everybody can eat. And they come up there for their meals or whatever, and they've got a meal to take home. Maybe you get 2 meals because of rationing and weather or whatever it may be. But I think that areas like this will, if they're self-governed and they're able to do some sort of diner like this, in the event that we have like a complete total global and national meltdown, that these would be the pockets of communities that would actually survive something like that, versus a community that it's like, well, yeah, we got the local restaurant, I got no money because my check went away, that restaurant goes out of business. That was a waste, because you got all that equipment, all that talent, and all that ability to work within the community to be able to do that. And I think that I don't know what it would cost to be able to get something like that, but I would probably be pitching it to the community itself. I heard the Hopi from your area made blue corn tortillas. Ooh, that's neat. Um, I did not know about that, but yeah, I had them before. But it's just something that you can do. Okay. I think the restaurant with a traditional American would be a good theme. Literally, almost everything is made in China, and we better get our asses uh, if we want to survive. Well, you know what? It's not even about that. A lot of the reason why people can't store off to the side is because when you're poor, you pay what's called a poor tax. That means you can't pay that's why you got to go to Walmart and buy a cheap Chinese piece of shit. Okay. That's why you got to go to Walmart, buy a cheap piece of Chinese shit that's going to break in 3 weeks, that you got to go back and buy, because you don't have the lump sum at that point in time to be able to go buy something that's going to be of quality, that will last you a long time and save you more money, because you're not continuously replacing it. And that is the poor tax that's put on people that keeps us poor to begin with. And so by just, yeah, that's just my tirade. It's hard for the poor to be able to survive, not because of poor decisions, but because of economics. You could say go get a skill set, but they put so many barriers to so much stuff now that, like, even when I was in my early 20s, I tried to I wanted to go become either a plumber's an apprentice as a plumber or an electrician, but they required that I went and did all these years of schooling before, and to be able to take a test and have these certifications before I could even go and do something like that. Well, it's like, I need to survive now. I could do some stuff, do some testing, be there as a helper until I get to the point where I can become an apprentice, and then it becomes a time. But that's the way it used to be, and now it's like, well, no, you just got to come in as an apprentice. We don't want a helper because da 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 da. And so it became much harder, and so many different barriers for people that didn't have a lot of means but had the will and the ambition and the desire to do more. It cuts them out. And so therefore, with the scarcity, now they can sit there and charge more. And so those barriers benefit them because they're like, well, yeah, I could charge $50 an hour, when the amount of people that would like to do something like this could drop the price down to $25 an hour. And $25 an hour is still a livable wage, even in today's time. Desert restaurant idea sounds good. Smithfield Foods. People don't have time for bartering all day. I think most preppers would just wish for smaller silver coins. I think your restaurant thing would work after hyperinflation phase. Yeah, but you've got to establish the network in the community before that happens, because you can't just do a pop-up. If you do a pop-up at that point in time, it's going to take a lot longer and a lot more people are going to suffer. If you already have the infrastructure in place, as soon as it happens, then everybody is saved. So I might approach the local restaurant about it too. I might just go down when I go into the post office next. I might sit back and say, "Hey, look, I want to pitch you an idea because I don't want to start it, but I think that this is going to be what keeps your restaurant going in the future," and just give them my idea, because it makes a lot of logical sense. And if you're the small business owners that I know and that I got to be around, they were more interested in how they could serve their customer than how much money they were going to make or how much they could gain from it. The money motivation wasn't really there. It was the satisfaction in knowing that they helped somebody provide a solution, and they were able to get paid a decent wage for it. So, and it doesn't seem like that anymore. Agreed, Greece. I guess we drink tequila to conserve water. I think that things would get that bad was before in a complete collapse, which I think we can't even fathom. Correct. Uh, okay. Well, the thing is getting funding for it. Either this channel has to really take off, and I need a lot of people coming over to Patreon to be able to even pull something like that off. Because you got to talk about, I got to buy the land, I got to do the permits. I've also got to do other stuff. Now I could start it off as a truck or a trailer, and just do it from there, and just do like simple things like tortilla or like tacos and some basic breakfast stuff and stuff like that, work within the community. But and if I wanted to go up to the Jiffy store, which after my experience with the Jiffy store, I'm not going to spend $10. I'm not going to spend $10 a day to be up there. No, not after the way they treated me. Rabbit tacos. Yeah, actually, I got a picture of one of the rabbits. I think it was a baby rabbit because the ears were like half the size of the last one I saw. So we'll figure it out, though. I mean, we'll definitely. I'll look into seeing what I can get done for it. But I think that if this is something that the community would like to, especially if you're considering buying land out here, I'd like to have a few subscribers that have got some land out here with me, to have my own personal community of like-minded individuals that are going to work in a cohesive manner to, your property's a mile away from me, but we still work together. You need something, I come help you. I need something. Now, there are some neighbors that will do that and that you can do that with, but I want to have my own personal community that I know, that I feel comfortable with, and that I know it's going to have the similar goals as me, because the average person out here probably doesn't have the same similar goals that I do. One thing I hate about pipe tobacco is you always got to relight it. So just get chicken's tuck. Yeah, that could be. You can make tortillas from dry ingredients. I wonder if I could do that here on this property, and just kind of like notify everybody in the community and say, hey, I'd like to do a trailer or something like that. If we can come together and build something like this, I love to cook and I wouldn't mind doing it. But I do need some sort of compensation for my wages or for my time, so that as I'm taking time away from something that makes me money, I'm making money doing something else. So that might be a good idea as well, unless you want to eat chicken crickets. Yeah. My neighbors offered me to come over there and skin one of his chickens, and I want to. It just seems like doing the news as much as I am, it's a grind. It's not like what I was doing, where I had pockets of time where if I had side business to take care of, I could take care of it. Now I basically, from the time I wake up in the morning until the time I go to bed, I am, with the exception of maybe a couple hours during my weekend, because I'm still working during the weekend. I'm just not producing content. And I actually, this is, let's see, I produce content even through the weekend. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 11 days straight of content. I haven't taken a single day off in the last 11 days just to make, and I'm still getting the stuff done I need to get done, but I'm also figuring out a way to streamline what it is that I'm doing. So, yeah, this takes a lot of time to be able to do this, because I don't want to just sit there and go, oh yeah, here's a topic, I'm just going to ramble about it because give my opinion on it. I want to know the nuts and bolts so that I can make an informed and educated decision and give you a realistic point of view versus the slanted point of view that you may have because you don't have all of the facts. Okay, so let's see here. Or lizards. Yeah, that's one way to do it. But anyways, guys, I know, you know what's funny is that most people turn in for the first like 20 to 30 minutes, and then usually very few people stick around after that. So for those of you that stick around, much appreciated. I really, really appreciate it. But these are some solutions, some things that you can do. These are ideas. This is what being part of this community is. So here's what my ending goal, and I'm gonna end the live stream on this. If you guys would, you need to supplement with fat if your primary food is rabbit. Good to know. She is not, well, she's not getting notifications. She keeps telling me that she keeps going to watch the replay, but she keeps telling me she's not getting the notifications. Um, I don't know. She's not getting it. I got to keep reminding myself to. She knows I go live at this time. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. I think because I talked to her earlier. I just woken up from my nap. I told her I'd call her after the live stream tonight. So anyways, Bucknut had sandbag idea. Scroll. Yeah, I saw the sandbag idea, but he didn't finish it. I even read it. Yeah, because I know, where's the sandbag? Wow, that's way the hell up there. You guys are really chatting. Property use the bags to create a wind barrier. Oh, okay, I see. All right. Okay. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, because I was waiting for it. I guess I didn't scroll up far enough. Because I keep scrolling and I have like little points of like little things just like that you guys say that I use as my markers. Sometimes I miss it. Sorry about it. Not intentional, never is. So bucknut, true for wild rabbits, not so much for raised rabbits, but I won't turn down some bacon. Yeah, well, neighbors around here got bacon. We could probably get a bunch of pigs, and start breeding a crap ton of pigs. Start making it valuable. Start, getting the community together. I'd have to talk with my neighbor that knows pretty much everybody and see what he thinks, because I know him and his wife are looking for something to do. Um, and I'd be offering to come work with them for a little bit. Make some side money to make sure. Yeah, never turn down bacon. Make some side money. But yeah, unless I can get funding here, but it doesn't. I don't see. I'm struggling just to get new members, keep members, and monetize what I do have. I mean, I'm starting to get by a little bit better as the transition goes, because I've been looking at my stats. I did good all the way up until January, and then basically my channel fell off a cliff. I don't know if that had to do with changes that I was making or what. I'm about to smoke a pork belly and make some more bacon. Oh, that sounds so good. You're going to need a truck eventually, right, Tuck? Yeah, I will eventually need a car, but I got so much stuff I got to do around here before I even get to that. And if I'm going to buy a car, I need to have a couple grand, because I want to buy a used car, like an old beat up truck, for maybe like $2,000 off of somebody, as long as it works and it'll run and I can learn my own damn mechanics. But I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, one of the thing that I'm really working on is the morning live streams. I want to be over on Patreon. The evening live streams, I want them to eventually be over on Patreon, because I really want the live stream segments to be 100% unfiltered, where I'm not holding back. I'm not using code words to be able to say certain things. I'm not, because whether you guys realize it or not, there are certain things that I temper back on. We need hogs to dispose the bodies, allegedly. Talk with the amount of changes you've made with your channel. It's going to take time to get people back into sync with your new content style. Yeah, I know. It's just it seems like essentially really when I the what has really kind of so I got when I got that one video that took off that got 100,000 views, I thought it would start giving me 5 to 10,000 views per video because all of a sudden I picked up a crap ton of subscribers. Well, that didn't translate to subscribership or excuse me, to continued stuff because they were only there for my one thing, which was everybody should be preparing for homelessness. Um, and then the preparing for homelessness 101. Those are my two best videos from release on. Okay, next to a couple others, but those are my top two. And the thing is, I got such a high payout, and it trickled in over a couple of months that, and then I started getting more in the tip jar. I started seeing more people in the live stream. I started seeing a lot more stuff going, but I was also on trail, and like all of that kind of like once that kind of went away, I just slowly felt the crunch until finally it's like, have I hit rock bottom yet? I think I finally hit rock bottom, and so there should be nothing but up. And at least I was able to survive this change, and I'm able to get traction because I got a video that hit about 3,000 views, and for a news topic, for being new into the news, that's pretty good. So, how did your yesterday one not go viral? Tell me about it. It could be because of what happened in it. There's could have been a lot of different things. YouTube doesn't want stuff like that to go viral because of the hysteria it creates. Mm. But it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know why it went viral, but eventually, my goal is before the end of the summer. Um, I need to be able to have at least 5 to 10 participants in each of the live streams, which means that I'm making enough money from Patreon that whatever I make from YouTube AdSense is just gravy on top. And I will just continue putting the 3 articles out. I'll come and do like a once a week live stream out for the public, but for the most part, I really want to take that behind the paywall so that I can speak freely, we can speak freely, and we can have our right to privacy. Um, okay. Okay, you could do a series on how to prepare while on low income or how to survive on limited income. Yeah, that is one thing. Well, my budgeting video, we'll see if that takes off. If that takes off, then yeah, that tells me that that's a popular topic within the community. My $300 a month budget, I got like 700 views, and it hasn't gotten a view since, and that happened in like the first 3 days. I don't think YouTube AI even knew what happened. Well, if you listen to what I said, I know, but man, I've been on top of the YouTube algo. No. Yeah, you would think so, but no. A lot of people have to share it. A lot of people have to watch it all the way to the end or go to that specific segment. Yes. Oh, thank you, Beth. Yes, and so when I'm going to start asking you guys to do it, and I need to start getting in the habit. The next 2 weeks might make it go viral. Maybe. Let's hope so. So I'm going to start asking you guys. It's going to help me. It's going to help me achieve my goals. Even if you can't contribute financially, there are so many other different ways you can contribute. And one of the main ways that you can contribute is by sharing my content. I'm going to start asking you guys towards the end or even in the middle of a video that if you could just find one friend to share this information with, it would greatly help the channel out. Because if you're sharing it with your friends and it's kind of growing in, because a lot of what it has to do is it has to do with reach. And so by doing something like this expands my reach so that people that fit those demographics now start getting served my content. That's the real, like, if you understand like the reason why some people are doing that, that's the reason behind doing it is I need to expand my reach so that when I put out a video, I have more opportunities for people to do it. Right now, the largest reach that I have is I think, a 500,000 impressions. Okay. And so having that 500,000 impressions keeps making me wonder, why the hell am I not at least getting 50,000 impressions, which would translate into a couple thousand views per video? Why am I not getting it, but I was getting it there? And that's the question I've been trying to answer. People are finicky about the things they like. I'm just not tapped into it that way. I'm just not. But anyways, guys, thank you for being here. Consider coming over to Patreon and supporting the channel if you can. I'd be much appreciated, and there's a lot of benefits over there. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the morning. Does YouTube or AdSense give you that data about how far your reach is? Yeah, it's part of being in the YouTube studio. Hey, what's up, Captain? Tuck, you're my only friend. I shall share it with you. Or better yet, does Sam have social? I find it hard to believe that I'm your only friend, Bucknut. I find that very hard to believe. But okay, you can share it with me, Bucknut. I will be tickled pink. So, alrighty, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you. I'll see you in the morning.